So I'm super excited today to be introducing you to one of the most successful YouTube influencers on the planet. He interviews celebrities, athletes, very active in the urban hip hop genre, but he's extraordinarily successful, yet he began with nothing more than a work ethic and a mindset of success, which is the same thing we strive to teach to people in jails and prisons of America. I reached out to DJ Vlad. Some of you may know him. If you've been locked up for a long time, you may have not had access to the internet, but this guy is the real deal, and he's going to tell us his story so that we can really validate this concept of the importance of defining success, setting clear goals, and then pursuing with 100% commitment. So I'm going to introduce you right now. DJ Vlad, thanks so much for coming on to the Prison Professors program. We are super excited to have you. You're the biggest guest we've ever had for sure. And I want to learn from you. And I know our audience of people in jails and prisons across America want to learn from you as well. Would you do us the honor of just telling us a little bit about what got you started in this movement back in, I guess it was the early 2000s?
Yeah, it was 2008. I was a DJ at the time, and I was kind of, figuring out some stuff on, videos. Like I was putting out like street DVDs and, interviewing artists and so forth. And the hustles that I was having were very difficult at the time. I was struggling because CDs were going away. The mom and pop stores were closing down. DVDs were starting to go away somewhat as well. Streaming was starting to kind of pop its head up. And I was really just looking at my life. I'm 46 now. I was 32 at the time. So, I was, 34 at the time. My math is wrong. And I was just looking at the rest of my life and trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because what I was doing at the time, I knew just didn't have a longevity. I knew that I was going to have to keep working harder and harder to try to make the same amount of money that I made a month ago. So that was really a driving force of trying to figure out what's next.
So when we're talking about this with guys in jail and prison, they're kind of going through something similar right now. It's even more difficult for them because there's 40 million people unemployed in America. There's social unrest. There's pandemics going on. And these guys are going to come out and are going to have to do the same thing you did, which is really reinvent themselves and think about success and define it. And you were kind of at 2008, if I'm not mistaken, that was right around the time that we were starting the Great Recession, isn't it?
Yeah, it was right in the middle of the recession. Honestly, it was a tough time. A lot of people were out of work. The overall forecast of the economy was bad. The stock market was bad. But I didn't really have a lot of money back then. I was kind of month to month in terms of what was happening. And at that time, YouTube had just popped up as a business. It had been around for a couple of years before, but there was something called the partner program, which allowed people who created videos to make money off those videos, essentially. And as soon as I saw that, I suddenly saw the vision of where this was going to go, because not only can you upload your videos and make money off of them, but other websites can post those videos. You make money off the traffic from those other websites as well. So I kind of made a very serious decision at that point to say, okay, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing, which is kind of a hustle, because I was selling mixtapes, or mix CDs, as some people call them, where I would put together other people's music and mix them and remix them and so forth. But this wasn't exactly legal. I mean, really, it was illegal. It was copyright infringement. And there was always the fear of at any moment, the feds could kick down my door, seize my bank accounts, take my car. I didn't have any property back then, but and put me in jail. And that was a very serious fear. And right around that time, there was a DJ named DJ Drama, who was a popular DJ down south, and he had just gotten raided by the feds. And I was watching the video of his BMW being towed away and everything. And that worried me quite a bit, because we were in similar businesses. So I was really looking for something that was just legitimate and could kind of grow over time into my senior years. So when I saw this, I said, okay, I think this is what I've been looking for a long time. This is a legitimate business. I've already been filming some video on my own, so I could kind of transition into this. And I think that this is going to be a very big thing. I think this is going to be as big or bigger than all the TV networks. And nobody was offering me a TV deal or even a radio gig at that time. So I had to just think about doing everything on my own and starting myself. And right in 2008, I launched Vlad TV out of the bedroom of my apartment with just myself doing everything. And when you watch my interviews, when you see that I'm never on camera and I'm interviewing the people from behind the camera, that was because at that point, I couldn't afford a cameraman. I had to hold the camera myself. I had to ask the questions myself. Then I had to go edit the video and put it out and everything. So that style early on that was born through necessity and you know, me just being, you know, poor, developed into the style that you see today, you know, 12 years later, which is the same kind of thing. I'm not on camera. I'm asking questions from behind the camera. The whole focus is on the person that we're interviewing. And, you know, over the years, it just started to grow to where it is today.
So the important takeaway there from a guy that I would hear if I were in a jail still oh, we just lost your video, Vlad. There we go.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
When
I had to put on the do not disturb, so not to, you know.
Okay. Well, appreciate that. But I always like to give a recap for guys because, you know, I was in those chairs with people for 9,500 days and I was thirsting for content like what DJ just told us. DJ Vlad just said that he didn't have any money, that he was looking for something to do. But when he found his niche, he didn't tiptoe into the water. He said he made 100% commitment. And I'm going to have a lot of questions on that because I think that that's what if you're in jail, if you're in prison, you got to be thinking about, how am I going to crush it out here? How am I going to do something different? He didn't allow not having any money to be a roadblock for him. What he said is that I am going to hold the camera myself, take a poor man's approach and build it. And he did it successfully to become, as I said, one of the most successful YouTubers on the planet, where he's interviewing mega stars, generating, we're going to talk about the statistics a little bit later. All of that comes from an insane work ethic. But I also think from starting out with 100% commitment to building a law-abiding business, which is what he wanted to do. Do you go by DJ Vlad or just Vlad? What is it? What is the appropriate way to call you?
I mean, Vlad's my real name. I go by Vlad, but people call me DJ Vlad, or, you know.
So when did you were you born? You were born overseas and came to the U.S. as a child?
Yeah, I was born in the USSR, what used to be Russia at the time. These days it's the Ukraine. My family immigrated when I was around 4 years old. You know, Russian was my first language. English was my second language. But since I was so young, you know, I became fluent in English. And yeah, I grew up as an immigrant with, you know, initially poor working parents that eventually made it to middle class by the time I was in high school. And, you know, went to college. I went to UC Berkeley. I got a computer science degree. And, you know, at one point I decided to sort of put that degree aside and to follow my dreams of doing music. And that's how the DJ Vlad thing came about, you know, around 2000 or so. And it took a while, you know, so you got to think from 2000 to 2008, it took 8 years of, you know, going to different parts of the music industry in terms of my career, from being a DJ to making mixtapes to making videos to doing other things to try to figure out where I fit into this industry, because where I wanted to fit in initially, which was becoming a DJ, didn't really work out as well as I was hoping for it to. I never became a big superstar DJ. I was, you know, I was known and I won some awards and so forth, but it never turned into a big career like it did for some other people that I know that became millionaires off of that. I was never able to do that. So I never wanted to be the struggling DJ into my 40s and 50s, barely making it by. So I had to really think, you know, 10, 20 years ahead. And that's where the Vlad TV thing gave me the inspiration.